Hello world, and welcome to Elevated Intuition. Today we have a pick a card reading looking at the energies of the next week. So this is, whenever you find it, it's a timeless reading. So for the next 5 to 7 days for yourself, I am going to upload it on June 20th. So if you were watching it when I uploaded, it's for the next week there. If you're watching it, 6 months from now, it's for your next week, whatever time span makes sense for you. This is also a pick a card reading, so you take what resonates. You get to pick the pile here. I have 1, 2, and 3, and I have them kind of associated here with these plants, so I will give you more information about the plants in a moment if you're interested in that. At any time, if you decide which pile resonates for you, I have the timestamps down below and I will meet you at your pile. So a little bit more information for pile 1. We have this plant. It is a Haworthia or an aloe. Both of those plants, they're very closely related and they're actually really easy to grow. They're great for office spaces, school. They can do higher light, low light. They're really, really solid, great plants. So then pile number 2, we have associated with this plant. These are bear paws. You can see they've got like these chunky leaves that hold water. They're also fuzzy, so they're really nice. And they're also pretty easy to grow and maintain for anyone who is interested in those. And then for pile number 3 here in our little dinosaur, we have an Echeveria. This one, the more sun it gets, the red it gets around the edges. These are a little bit more difficult to grow. If they don't get enough sunlight, they will kind of expand, like the stem will expand out and they'll lose this rosette shape. They also are prone to rot. So you have to be really careful that when you water them, you get the water down here and not on the leaves, because if the water sits on the leaves, the water will rot and the rot spreads and just kills the rest of the plant. But also very beautiful. A lot of people get them because they are so pretty. That's almost like a flower in a plant itself. So if you're still stuck, go ahead and take a deep breath with me. We're going to close our eyes. Take a deep breath in and release. Just center yourself. Be in this moment. Now open your eyes, and whichever pile your eyes are drawn to, that's the one for you. And I will meet you at your pile. Hello, group 1. If you picked this Haworthia, you are in the right spot. Let's take a look at the energies for this week. So I'm gonna put these guys, they're kind of hiding back there. We'll look at them later. And then this larger card I picked, or I pulled with the intent of the overall energy for your week. And this is follow your dreams. So very interesting. This card has very much a fire energy to it. You can see the fire here. So very wands-ish, if you will, related back to the tarot decks. I also love like the shooting star here, when you wish upon a star or see a shooting star, it's kind of like a confirmation of you're on the right track, putting out your wishes, putting out your desires, and it is talking about really stepping forward, even if that is jumping out the window here and going with your desires and your dreams. It's make a step towards your dreams. Daydreams are fun and wishes are fun, and absolutely nothing wrong with daydreaming or making wishes and wishing upon stars, but nothing is ever going to happen until you take that next step, you take that leap. And you might be kind of stuck here because you don't know what the step is that you're supposed to take. So that might be a problem. We'll discuss that maybe a little bit more with the cards and see if something comes up to help us, guide us with that. The other thing here is we don't know, is this, you know, if we're going to jump out this window, how high are we off the ground? There's kind of like a fog here. So what kind of plans do we have where we're not going to injure ourselves or hurt ourselves with this dream that we're looking into, that we're following? So we're just going to keep that in mind as we go to follow our dreams, but just understand that we miss 100% of the shots that we don't take. So it is not a bad thing to put yourself out there, to try something new. Definitely do those things. And that's what this week is about for you. So then the cards we have are, this is the Green Mother reversed, which goes back to the Empress. This deck that I'm using today, they name the cards a little bit differently than the traditional tarot, but that's okay. This is the Enchanter's Wheel, which relates back to the Wheel of Fortune, also reversed. This is Child of Spells, which is Page of Wands, again reversed. And then we've got Two of Spells, which is Two of Wands, and also reversed. So one thing that I have a rule for when I'm reading, and I'm going to turn these around, is I don't read spreads that are all in reverse. That's just an indication to me that they all need to be upright. And however, that they all came out in reverse, it tells me something else, which I kind of touched upon here, is that I think you do want to do something. You are ready to branch out. You're feeling that energy that you want, that you like this desire, but you probably don't know. You probably don't know where to step, what your next step should be. And we'll get into that when we look at these two cards over here. Or you're apprehensive in some way. Yeah, so the Enchanter's Wheel talks about that too, this apprehension that you might have. But with these two cards, I'm going to go ahead and pick them both up because they're really important. It's also interesting, I know most of the cards in this deck are green, but I'm really getting with this Follow Your Dreams card and these green cards. Green represents the heart chakra as well. I like how this spirals inward kind of to your heart. And even though we don't have any cards that talk necessarily about intuition, other than like the Green Mother, I mean, she definitely has a very well-developed intuition. This is like, you know, maybe you don't know where you're supposed to go, but you need to follow your heart, follow your dreams, follow your intuition. That is going to guide you into the right space. The Green Mother here, she is a very creative source, so I feel like you might be feeling that bubbling up. She talks about abundance. I mean, that could be something that is holding you back, like you following your dreams. You're not sure how you're going to, how that's going to fit in with supporting yourself. But the Green Mother talks about abundance. These are also two very major energies because they're from the major arcana. So again, that very bodes well. Green Mother, she, creative source, abundance. She also guides others in where they want to go. And I like how this one, she has a child here with her. It also it talks about like fertility, giving birth. So if something, part of your dreams is to have children, I mean, this is a very great indication of that. If, however, it doesn't necessarily mean like fertility, like physical fertility. It could also talk about like your dreams and your ideas, and all of this looks really well to like develop brand new ideas, brand new dreams, brand new desires, and to follow that. Enchanter's wheel here is the Wheel of Fortune. So it talks about luck, it talks about karma sometimes, and it very much talks about cycles. So part of apprehension here, especially with the Child of Spells, and then this follow your dreams, because this looks like a pretty young person ready to start on an adventure of something new. Also very reminiscent here of this Child of Spells. Part of apprehension could be because people, it's hard to change, even when it's something that you desire, even if it's something that you, like it's a dream that you want to follow. Starting off with something new is always kind of difficult. And just understand that, you know, I mean, this is a cycle. Once you start off on something new, and keep at it, you're not going to be a beginner forever. It is, you know, you're always going to be, like in this cycle, you're just at the beginner level at one point. So as long as you keep moving and progressing, you can't be too concerned about being a beginner, because then you never start and you're never anything on this wheel or in this cycle. But this is also very positive for you because it talks about luck, and it talks about luck turning on your side. And there's there's a 4-leaf clover here, some very lucky charms, but there's also obstacles along the way. And don't let that deter you, because if it does, you'll never move anywhere. So Child of Spells, this goes back to the Page of Wands, very, very much associated here with the Follow Your Dreams. In fact, it might even be like basically the same card out of 2 different decks, right? Because it's somebody who is looking at their newfound desire, this newfound dream, and then going out and trying it. This Child of Spells, he has a wand here, and he's going to try to do a spell on this rabbit. Now, I talked about being a beginner at something. He is a novice, is a child, and trying to do a spell on the rabbit. The rabbit's just sitting there because the rabbit isn't really concerned at all that this child is going to do anything to him. And maybe he's not effective in his magic right now, but that doesn't mean it's going to be that way forever. You have a starting point. This is your week to start something new. The Child of Spells goes out and does something new, is not really worried about failing, and it's more of a trial and error kind of thing, to learn and grow. And then, I mean, eventually you become, like in this deck, it would be the Keeper of Spells. But very, very much beginning. And like I said, these 2 cards show that when you step out into this desire, that you can go places with it. And then finally we have the 2 of Spells, which is actually a really great card here to have. We're talking about a week time period, right? You're really not going to master something within a week. And this is kind of like, okay, we started something, now what? The 2 is kind of the next step into clarifying something. So this is great because this is talking about you being on your way to doing something. In this deck, these sticks here, these spells, these wands, if you will, they all have like different messages kind of written on them. It's the intent of this specific card is that this person is basically asking questions of the trees, and that's what the little sparkles are about, kind of like getting an oracle. It's kind of like you watching a tarot reading online. You're asking a question and you're getting the results back of what your question is. So the important part in this is, what is your question? Where do you want to go from here? And that could be your question, like, where am I supposed to go from here? But to get specific answers, you need to ask specific questions. And that is what this card is about. So it's about going out there, trying something new, coming back. This trial and error is really important, but then also like, okay, I tried it this way, didn't really go quite the way I wanted it to, but what are the results that you want? Where is your end point that you want to go? You kind of have to know that. And maybe you don't fully know the thing until you start, and that's okay. But it's like, again, back to the trial and error, keep going on this wheel and keep learning new things. So our final advice cards are, whom do you need to forgive? As you release old anger or resentment, you will find that your wishes will come true. So that's really interesting, because I'm not seeing in here necessarily anything about forgiving somebody else or somebody else wronging you. So sometimes we just get some random messages. This may not resonate for everyone. It could be yourself, though, as well, because you do need to, especially for somebody who's a perfectionist, you do need to forgive yourself for not being perfect at everything. You're not going to be perfect at everything. Also, like, when you want to go down a specific path, there is a burden to this, any anger that we are holding on to, any area where we feel somebody has wronged you, and we just need to let that go and forgive that person. And you forgive for yourself, not necessarily for them or for if they deserve it. I mean, one thing just popped into my head, so this may resonate with some of you, is I had a really bad work experience with a terrible boss at one point. It's really difficult for me to go into a new situation, a new job situation here, if I am carrying this burden of this old boss with me, and you know, that doesn't belong in my new adventure. So that's interesting. And then spiritual teacher. Your life purpose involves teaching others about healing and spirituality. So that's really interesting as well, especially over here with this green mother, because she is very much about teaching and passing on to others. What I see here, you know, I was talking about you being brand new at something. I think like the end goal of whatever this desire is that you're learning, whatever it is that you want to know about, is that you're able to help and teach others and guide them along the way. And that fits very well with this wheel here too. Like the wheel keeps on turning. Seekers become finders, and finders become masters. And then when you do master something, you're able to help others along their path with their own magic as well. So that's what I have for you this week. It looks really fun and interesting. I'd love to hear what new adventures that you are on in the comments. So please let me know. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next reading. Hello, group 2. If you picked these bear paws, you are in the right spot. Let's take a look at your cards for next week. So these ones are hiding back here. I'm gonna put those on the little easels for later. And I pulled these cards, particular one for everyone, for our overall energy of the next week. And we have rebirth and reinvention. So this is very connected to water energy. No surprise here, because we've got the water. This is like emotions, intuition, that kind of thing. It also talks about like renewal. So really, it could just be a recharge for yourself this week, or it could be really a new direction, whether that is in a new career or a new stage in your life. You're ready to welcome in something new. And we rebirth and reinvent ourselves all the time. Sometimes it is, you know, a seasonal thing. It's just like the seasons. We have no say over those. They just happen. We're here along for the ride in those things. We're also kind of along for the ride in our stages of life when we go from being an infant to a toddler to a child to a teenager to a young adult, older adult, that kind of thing. Like, we really don't have a say in that. That just kind of happens. But there are things that we do have a say in. Our career, our spirituality, our relationships. And we can reinvent ourselves all the time. And that's what we're talking about, those things, when we're talking about like you being a co-creator. That you don't have to let life happen to you. You can really affect it and see it in the way that you want to see it. So let's take a look at our cards. We've got 8 of challenges. We've got 9 of spells. We've got 7 of spells. And we've got 6 of boons. So these are really interesting. First of all, challenges is swords, spells is wands, and then boons is pentacles. So we have like basically all of the energies represented here, because we've got fire, earth, water, and air energies here for your week. So even though things might seem kind of unbalanced, these 2 cards are kind of balancing each other out, and these are kind of balancing each other out. And then you've got all of the elements here. So balance is something that seems like it's going to be important for you in the next week. Also, the other really interesting thing, this deck in particular talks about numbers being important. And we've got 6, 7, 8, and 9. So that's interesting, even though they're not in chronological order, and that's okay. It makes sense the way that they are. So let's start off with these 8 of challenges. I'm going to hold it upright so that you can see what it looks like. This is somebody who is caught in a situation where they're being harmed, superficially harmed. These are thorns, but still, the initial reaction is kind of like, you know, like if you touch a hot stove and you remove your hand away from it. Well, this is a little bit more in depth than that. And it's like almost like an overreaction here. When you're closing your eyes and you're just like sitting down and almost feeling hopeless, feeling like a victim in a situation where if you open your eyes, you really could move out of this, and you really need kind of like a plan to move out of it. And really kind of come over here in the 9 of spells and step into your power. So both of these are reversed, which means to me like the 8 of challenges is, okay, maybe you even recognize that you're in a situation where you might be playing the victim a little bit. And that's not to say that your pain isn't real, it very much is, but it's also that you are very powerful and you can move out of that. So even though both of these are reversed, it's a very different energy around each of them. And maybe it is something like with the 9 of spells where you are putting boundaries in place around yourself, so that challenges goes back to swords, which is air, which can be gossip, it can be people talking, it can be you know, somebody bombarding you with ideas, something like that you don't want to see or hear. It could also be something that you're seeing or hearing on social media. So part of putting boundaries around yourself is disconnecting with that. Part of putting boundaries around yourself, she's actually really doing a spell where she's you know, putting this circle around herself in this dark forest. And there are actually like prying eyes here. So maybe it's something where you don't even share as much on social media. Maybe it's something where you're blocking certain people, that you're just not going to let them come in and harm you anymore. And that could be part of your rebirth, that you're not so concerned about what other people think about you, that you're just going to come here and stand in your power, at least until you have yourself figured out. And that's kind of what I'm seeing over here in these two. Nines are kind of like wrapping up the energy of the suit. So even though we're kind of feeling the challenges here, we can put a spell around ourselves and feel better about it. And this card really talks about your energy can't be defeated. And I think that they're both in reverse. Well, first of all, the Eight of Challenges reversed because I think you're seeing your situation, you're seeing that things are harming you, and you want to move out of it, and you understand that you have the power to do that. The Nine of Spells, I think, is reversed because you're not quite sure how to put those boundaries around you. What you need to do is really trust yourself, trust your talents, and just be stubborn about it. I think that's all I have to say about those two things. So you put this boundary around you, and I love this card, it's so cute. It's a Seven of Spells. We've got this like dragon here, and then these gnomes coming at this dragon because they don't understand the gnome. And that might be part of your rebirth too. This might be kind of like the aftermath of it, that you've changed in some way, and the people around you don't understand you anymore. They don't understand, and sometimes, a lot of times, you know, these are people who are kind of like stuck in their ways, and maybe they don't understand you because of them being stuck in their ways. This is, you know, this dragon is very powerful and can fight back very easily, but that doesn't help anybody. So this talks about like you not going down to their level. Oh, this also could be, it's so interesting that I'm seeing social media out of these cards that are very, you know, not technology based at all. But this could also be like trolls on social media, on your media accounts. And this is not, you're not going down to their level. What is that quote about never argue with an idiot because they will drag you down to their level and beat you with experience? That's this. So you kind of just have to be like back to your magic over here. Stand in your power, stand in your rebirth, and like, this is, nope, this is the new me. You can wait, either ignore these trolls, or if it's somebody that just, you really do want to understand you, you know, wait until things calm down, and, you know, communication is key. At the time when this video is being recorded, we're in the middle of Mercury retrograde. So when you watch it, just take a look at Mercury retrograde, because a lot of times misunderstandings and miscommunications happen during that time for seemingly no reason. And a lot of times you're surprised by it because you think it's somebody that you're on the same page with, and this Seven of Spells just indicates that you're not. There's a problem to solve here. There's like a conflict because there's miscommunications between the two of you. That some way, you know, your power is intimidating to others, and they're going to take a jab at you. And it's really just, I love the Six of Boons here as like your final card. It's kind of like, just calm things down and be tender with yourself and you self-care. It's also interesting, you know, all these little bunnies are out here huddling with her. She is basically, it looks like she's sleeping on the forest floor. She doesn't have any shoes on, and she needs assistance, and like her little pals just came out of the woodwork to help her. So just because, I almost see it almost like a transformation of these people who like meet you with resistance over here to coming to be your best allies once you are able to really just explain yourself and explain. And I don't even know if you need to explain yourself. Just let the situation calm down and just be yourself. Be confident in yourself here. It's very interesting. Ask for what you want. Let the universe and other people know what you need. And I think that's very much connected here to this Six of Boons and these bunnies helping her out. This is very much a card about helping others and then them helping you. And I love the little wish here, because it's like letting that desire out and letting people know what you want and need. And that might be part of the misunderstanding here. Like I said, communication comes up and they don't know how to help you or assist you. And sometimes it's just things get heated and angry, and let go. As you surrender the need to control, your relaxed energy rapidly attracts your desires. So very much kind of connected back to these cards, two cards again. Like if you were too set in this situation, where you have this miscommunication, where you're at odds with this desire, then you can't attract what you really need here in Six of Boons. And this is also like just letting go of your past, like this with this rebirth and reinvention, that, you know, you are going to transform and change, and you have to let go of what you were to become who you are. So very interesting. I hope that makes sense for you, group 2. It's really about protecting yourself, letting go of the victim mentality, and standing into your power and putting boundaries around yourself, and then letting others know what you need so that they know how to support you. And really, communication looks like it's key here. So that's what I have, and I hope you have a fantastic week, and I will see you in the next reading. Hello, group 3. If you picked this Echeveria and the dinosaur, you are in the right spot. We're going to pull out these cards. We'll get to those in a moment. And then our overall energy for the week. Inspiration and courage. Very nice. So this is fire energy, obviously, with the fire. I love the swirling here. It's almost kind of like, I love that her hands are over her chest too, like standing in love and acceptance. And it's kind of like that which does not kill us only makes us stronger. Of course, that we are going to face challenges, everybody does, but seeing it as an opportunity to grow and push boundaries. This is kind of also reaching deep inside of ourselves, reaching inside of ourselves and getting out of our comfort zone. So, fun week. And then let's see what the cards are. Okay, so 3 of challenges. 7 of challenges. Keeper of spells, reversed. Interesting. And then 10 of spells, reversed. Okay, I think, looks like there are either challenges coming on this week or that have just happened. Okay, so I first want to address that the overall energy of the week, this inspiration and courage, I think that because these cards here are kind of a little crazy. And I said something about the swirling, and it's almost like this energy, and it's even mirrored here in this Keeper of Spells, like this energy is swirling around you. And it might be important to stay grounded and remember who you are. We're acting with love. Almost this closing of the eyes and putting your heart or your hands over your heart and just kind of like letting it go, letting it flow. Because I think if you get too invested in these other energies, that it could really harm you, not only like emotionally harm you, but that you could become, whatever hurt you, you could create this cycle where you go on to hurt others, and just this vicious cycle. This 10 of Spells here at the end is just kind of like a letting, and it's reversed. It's really just letting all of it go, letting all of these bad things go. But let's talk about the bad things here in a moment, or for a moment. The Three of Challenges, this is Three of Swords in normal tarot. And it's really interesting how this is depicted because it's got the two kids, presumably, it does, even though it doesn't say this in the book, it kind of like Hansel and Gretel, where their father leaves them in the forest. And there's reasons why he does that. It hurts him to do that. So understanding too, like if you are the children and you are trusting somebody and they are hurting you, like they may not like be happy that they hurt you. It may just be the only way that they knew what to do, if that makes sense. Like a decision that they made in a moment of weakness. And they didn't understand, they didn't have a better path. So it's really just taking that, maybe even like removing yourself and seeing that if they hurt you, that's what they did. That it wasn't an intentional hurt, that it hurt them probably as much as it hurt you. And then we have the Seven of Challenges. This is, these foxes are here and they're not even stealing food. There might be food in here, but what is a fox going to do with a cup? What are they going to do with this accordion? So, oh yeah, okay. So like over here in the Three of Challenges where I said like that whatever they're doing, they're hurting themselves as much as they're hurting you. Well, continuing in this cycle that then, they get used to that and then they just take to take. So it's kind of like what I was saying where you want to break out of that cycle because you don't want to hurt others either. You just want to accept people who have, what's that prayer? Forgive people who, gosh, it just went out of my head. Forgive their trespasses and, ask them to forgive you for yours, because that kind of happens. Now, this also talks about acting strategically, where in this case, these foxes are just running off with things, and it's going to harm these people because they're not going to have their accordion or their teacup. These are kind of like superficial things though, but these foxes don't need it. But it is talking about, like, for instance, if you were trying to leave a job that you wouldn't let the whole office know that that's what you're doing, you would be strategic about it, because you're trying not to harm them. until it is the moment that you need to act in your own self-interest. This Keeper of Spells reversed, this is the King of Wands reversed. And this is kind of like a caution, like it's okay, not necessarily okay. I mean, you don't want to intentionally hurt somebody, but when you need to do what you need to do for yourself. And if you do it with love, that's one thing. If you do it because you're vain or egocentric or arrogant, or you do it just because you can, that is something else. So it kind of cautions us against that. It also might caution you against, like, this could be an actual person in your life who is hurting you. And it's really, I see this like putting your heart over to like protect your heart, or to just forgive them and to just let go of the boundaries here. Because remember, what does not kill us makes us stronger. That we do meet these challenges, that there are no easy answers to a lot of things, but it's really acting with love, and that this cycle is going to come to an end. That I think once you learn from it, and once you have like maybe the courage to speak up or speak against it, that and just say, you know what, I'm not going to be in this cycle anymore. I know that you're sneaking around behind me over here. I know that maybe at first it was hard for you to do, and now it's becoming easier. That's it. I'm not letting you burden me this way anymore. And that's what the 10 of spells are. 10s are kind of like the cumulative energy of the entire suit. Spells is this fire energy. So you're going to take all of like the wands and the fire energy, and you're going to use it to inspire and yourself, and act courageously for yourself. And then we have emotional healing, very, very much connected like to these two things. I love too that this is the green. This is looks like this card here. This green like gem or whatever she is holding or enchanting that is over her heart. As your heart heals of old emotional pain, you receive new blessings and love. Yeah, so this is so much of like all of these things swirling around you and not letting it harm you. Understanding that sometimes these things happened and they didn't intend to harm you. Sometimes these things happened because you allowed it to. But you're going to put in some new boundaries, and you're not going to become the person that hurt you, and we're putting an end to it. And then we have connect with nature. You're rejuvenated and inspired by spending time outdoors. So this is maybe a way that you can help unburden yourself and to get away from it, is that you just go spend some time with nature. Appreciate and love the things that you have. Find inspiration there, find courage there. And, you know, when you walk away and spend time with yourself, that is part of putting a boundary up too, so that like this Keeper of Spells can't harm you anymore, or whoever this is that's going behind your back can't harm you anymore, and that you come out of this bigger and stronger than you went into it with. So that's what I have for you, group 3. I kind of feel like you know about this energy. I kind of feel like you know about this person. This is just really more of a message of, hey, instead of getting angry and upset about it, instead of feeling betrayed, we're going to put our boundaries around our heart, and we're going to initiate this healing and really move on to this. You really kind of use this for our own benefit, for growth. So that's what I have, and I hope you have a great week, and I will see you in the next reading.